welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to become a professional string player. Disclaimer, there are lots of ways to become a professional string player. It really just depends on your goals. So today I'm really talking to the people that want to play their instrument for a living. So today I'm going to be talking to you about what has worked for me, what has worked for my colleagues, and my teachers. So right off the bat, you have to have a good bass on your instrument. And this might seem like common knowledge, but sometimes people, how do I say this in a nice way? You have to have a good sense of intonation, meaning playing in tune. You have to have a good sense of rhythm. And almost more importantly than anything, you have to be willing to put in the practice time. So hopefully you're taking private lessons and you will talk to your music teacher about what they think about going to music school, which really brings me to my next point. In America, you have to go to college and at least get a bachelor's of music. I don't know about overseas, I think it works differently around the world, so I'm just talking about in the United States. So yeah, depending on your goals, I would get at least a bachelor's in music degree from your college, because that really gets you ready for the real world. And even then, it's not the real world. College is a bubble, and it's tough to break out of that bubble and leave college behind and enter the working world. I really miss college. I loved my little bubble and feeling like I was just working on my craft and honing it and trying to gain some confidence. And then you have to go into the real world. So I have a bachelor's in music, a master's degree, and I didn't finish it, but I spent time doing my artist diploma, which is like another grad degree at the Cincinnati Conservatory. But my goal is to be a classical musician, so I stayed in school a lot longer to be able to compete with other people that also want to be classical musicians and symphonies. One of the best things about going to music school though is your opportunity to network and get to know other people, because that is such an important way of getting work in the future. You never know who's going to get gigs and remember you and remember that you're good at your instrument and need a string player to call. So load up your Facebook friends in music school and continue to do so at future gigs. Networking is really important. You want to be a good person to work with, you want to be easy to be around, and you want to be memorable. So say you've been in music school and it's time to leave, you're done. Make yourself a one-page resume. No more than one page. So however tiny you have to make the print on that page is how tiny it has to be to fit your resume on one page. So you'll want to include the orchestras that you play in, your teaching experience if you have any, your music degrees, things like that. So in the midst of all this, you kind of need to be deciding what kind of musician you want to be. Like, do you need a master's degree? Do you want to take auditions for classical music symphonies? Or do you want to be a session player? Do you want to be a teacher? All of those kinds of things require a music degree, but I think it requires different levels of time that you have to devote to it in school. So if you want to be a session player, maybe you want to move to LA or New York or Nashville, a place like that. But keep in mind that it is a saturated market. Actually, being a string player is a saturated market. There are a lot of string players in a lot of places. So it's hard to break into the scene. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is not easy. It's taken me a long time to get enough work that I can really live off of. So you have your resume and you're ready to send it off to all the personnel managers you can find in the world or in your area. So one of the biggest tips that I can give anybody looking to become a professional string player out of college is to not be afraid to email people with your resume. No one is ever annoyed that you contacted them about work. In fact, most people, actually all people that I've encountered, have just been happy to know another string player. And if they need somebody, then they have another person to add onto their list. Don't feel like you're bothering people. You're not. You're putting yourself out there, and people like that. So that's really how I've gotten the bulk of the freelance work that I have. I've reached out to friends and said, okay, like, do you know any personnel managers that I can reach out to? I've Googled orchestras myself and tried to figure out who the personnel managers were based on websites and just sent them my resume. I always say if you need me to come audition for you to get on the sub list, I would be more than happy to, or send a recording, I'd be more than happy to, so that it doesn't appear like you're trying to just get a free in. You want to be able to prove that you're a good player and you can hold your own in orchestra. I also had to do the same thing to get session work. I sent in some recordings of myself, reached out to the guy who hires people for some recording sessions in Nashville, and it worked out. Another thing that I wish that I would have started doing sooner is starting to take auditions. I waited till after I was out of college to take auditions, and I just avoided it forever because I knew I was gonna hate it, and so I just didn't do it. And it's made it that much harder for me to get used to doing it outside of college. So even if you might not feel ready to win an audition, newsflash, you're never gonna feel ready to win an audition. At least I never have. Start taking auditions, because if you want to be a classical musician and you want to play in orchestras, whether it's a full-time orchestra or a part-time orchestra, you have to get used to taking some auditions and putting yourself in the line of fire. The other thing is to never stop practicing. You don't want to lose your chops. You always want to be prepared for your gigs too. So your stand partner may see that you're an awesome musician, and perhaps one day that person will become a personnel manager and need a violinist or cellist or whoever, you know? You just never know. So it's always best to be on your A game, which might seem like common sense, but you'd be surprised. So to wrap this up, get yourself to music school and get a degree. Work really hard to get good at your instrument, as good as possible, and then never stop practicing. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. A lot of things won't work out, but a lot of things might work out, and you never know unless you try. Make yourself a resume and start reaching out to people. I would even try to start playing in freelance orchestras while you're in college so that you can start building your resume. Even if it's a low-paying gig, at least that's something that you can put on your resume to send out to get you more gigs in the future that will be better paying. But you gotta start somewhere. So this is just how I have gone about becoming a professional musician. I'm a freelance classical musician. I do teaching and session work on the side. My bread and butter is playing in different orchestras, which is why I travel all over the place to play with different orchestras, but that's just because that's what I love to do most. So I hope I went into enough depth with this subject. If you have more ideas, please leave them down in the comment section. I think we all would love to hear more tips about how to get more work. Always be on the lookout for more playing opportunities and reach out to people who would be in position to help you get work. If you like this video or want to see more videos like it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. I'm really working hard to try to grow my YouTube channel, and I love talking to you guys about music, so if you have any topics you want me to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll see you next time.